Can you be my mom for just one day? The rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of Victoria Chen's corner office on the 47th floor. She sat alone, surrounded by the trappings of success, awards lining mahogany shelves, a desk worth more than most people's cars, and a view of the city that proclaimed her arrival at the top. But as she stared at her reflection in the darkening glass, all she saw was a woman who had everything and nothing at all. It was her 42nd birthday, and not a single person had remembered. Not her assistant, not her board members, certainly not her ex-husband, who had left 5 years ago, tired of being married to a woman who loved her company more than him. Victoria had built an empire, but she had built it alone. The intercom buzzed, shattering her thoughts. "Ms. Chen, there's a situation in the lobby. Security says there's a child asking for you specifically. They've tried to send her away, but she's insisting she needs to see you. Should I have them call social services?" Victoria frowned. A child asking for her? She had no children, no family to speak of beyond a distant sister she hadn't spoken to in years. "I'll come down," she said, surprising herself. Maybe it was the loneliness of the day, or maybe she was just curious about this strange interruption to her carefully controlled world. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, comment, and subscribe to Trillion Air in Love. Your support means the world and helps us bring you more inspiring stories like this one. The elevator ride down felt longer than usual. Victoria's heels clicked against the marble floor as she approached the security desk, where a small figure sat on a bench, swinging her legs. The girl couldn't have been more than 8 years old, with tangled dark hair and clothes that had seen better days. She clutched a worn backpack to her chest and looked up at Victoria with eyes that held far too much sadness for someone so young. "Are you Victoria Chen?" the girl asked, her voice small but determined. "I am," Victoria replied, kneeling down to the child's level, something she couldn't remember ever doing before. "What's your name, sweetheart?" "I'm Lily." The girl reached into her shirt and pulled out a necklace, a delicate silver chain with a heart-shaped locket. Victoria's breath caught in her throat. She knew that necklace. She had given it to her sister Emma 20 years ago, before their devastating fight, before Emma had disappeared from her life completely. Victoria's hand instinctively went to her own neck, where an identical locket had hung for decades before she'd put it away, unable to bear the reminder of what she'd lost. "Where did you get that?" Victoria whispered, her voice shaking. "My mom gave it to me before she got sick," Lily said, her eyes filling with tears. "She told me if anything ever happened to her, I should find Victoria Chen. She said you were her sister. She said you were strong and smart and could do anything." The girl's voice broke. "My mom died 3 weeks ago. I've been in foster care, but I ran away because I wanted to find you. Can you be my mom? Just for one day? Tomorrow is Mother's Day, and I just want to know what it feels like one more time." Victoria felt something crack inside her chest, a wall she'd built brick by careful brick crumbling in an instant. Emma was dead. Her baby sister, whom she'd pushed away in anger over a borrowed car and harsh words she couldn't even remember clearly now, was gone. And she'd left behind this beautiful, broken little girl who had traveled across the city alone just to find the aunt she'd never met. "Come with me," Victoria said softly, taking Lily's small hand in hers. She didn't know what she was doing, didn't know if it was legal or wise or any of the things she usually demanded of her decisions, but she knew she couldn't let this child spend another night alone. The challenges came immediately. By the time they reached Victoria's penthouse apartment, Lily was shivering despite the warm evening. Victoria realized with a start that the girl probably hadn't eaten properly in days. She ordered food. Too much food, everything she could think of that a child might like, while Lily sat on the enormous leather couch looking tiny and out of place. The apartment that had always seemed like a sanctuary now felt cold and sterile, a museum to success rather than a home. "I don't know how to do this," Victoria admitted, as she sat beside Lily, watching the girl devour pizza with desperate hunger. "I've never taken care of a child before. I don't know what kids like or need." Lily looked up at her with sauce on her chin. "My mom didn't always know either. She said being a mom meant trying your best even when you're scared." She paused, then added quietly, "She talked about you sometimes. She said she wished she could tell you she was sorry." Victoria's eyes burned with tears she hadn't shed in years. "I'm the one who should be sorry. I was so angry about something that didn't matter. and I let pride keep me from reaching out. I wasted 20 years and now she's gone, and I can't tell her that I loved her, that I always loved her. That night, Victoria ran Lily a bath, finding herself overwhelmed by the simple act of caring for someone else. She had no children's shampoo, no toys, none of the things a child needed. But Lily didn't seem to mind. She splashed in the water with a joy that seemed remarkable, given everything she'd been through. Victoria found herself smiling, really smiling, for the first time in months. After the bath, Victoria tucked Lily into the guest bed, which had never been used. The girl looked even smaller, surrounded by expensive linens. "Will you stay with me until I fall asleep?" Lily asked. "My mom used to tell me stories." Victoria hesitated, then climbed onto the bed beside her. "I'm not very good at stories." "That's okay," Lily said, snuggling close. "Just talk to me about anything." So Victoria talked. She told Lily about growing up with Emma, about how her sister had been brave and funny and kind. She told her about the dreams she'd had as a girl, before ambition had consumed everything else. And somewhere in the talking, she realized she was telling these stories as much for herself as for Lily, remembering a version of herself she'd forgotten existed. The next morning, Mother's Day, Victoria woke to find Lily already up, sitting at the kitchen counter trying to make breakfast. The kitchen was a disaster, with flour everywhere and broken eggs on the floor. But Lily's face when she saw Victoria was so full of hopeful pride that Victoria couldn't bring herself to care about the mess. "I wanted to make you breakfast in bed," Lily said, "because that's what you're supposed to do on Mother's Day, but I couldn't reach the stove." Victoria felt her heart crack open a little wider. "How about we make breakfast together?" They spent the morning cooking, badly but joyfully. Victoria couldn't remember the last time she'd laughed so much. Lily told her about school, about her friends, about her mother's last days. Victoria listened, really listened in a way she hadn't listened to anyone in years. She'd spent decades in board meetings, negotiating million-dollar deals, but none of it had prepared her for the complicated emotions of this one small person who had crashed into her life. After breakfast, they walked through the park. Lily held Victoria's hand tightly, pointing out dogs and flowers and clouds shaped like animals. Other families passed them, mothers with their children, and Victoria felt a longing so intense it took her breath away. This was what she'd given up in her pursuit of success, this simple, profound connection. "Can I ask you something?" Lily said as they sat on a bench watching ducks in a pond. "If I was your daughter, would you want to keep me? Or would I be too much trouble?" Victoria turned to face the little girl, seeing Emma's features in her face, seeing the hope and fear warring in her eyes. "Lily, you could never be too much trouble. You're brave and smart and kind, everything your mother was, everything I wish I'd been. Then can you be my mom for more than one day?" Lily whispered. "Can you be my mom forever?" The question hung in the air between them. Victoria thought about her life, the late nights at the office, the business trips, the carefully constructed world that left no room for anything messy or unpredictable. A child would change everything. A child would require sacrifice and compromise, and all the things she'd spent her life avoiding. But as she looked at Lily's face, Victoria realized something profound. She had spent 42 years climbing, achieving, winning. She had everything the world said she should want. But she'd been climbing the wrong mountain. Success without someone to share it with wasn't success at all. It was just loneliness with better furniture. "Yes," Victoria said, and with that one word she felt her entire world shift. "Yes, I want to be your mom, not just for one day, forever." The legal process that followed was complicated. Victoria had to navigate foster care systems, custody hearings and social workers who questioned whether a single CEO could properly care for a child. But for the first time in her life, Victoria was fighting for something that mattered more than profits or promotions. She was fighting for family. 3 months later, on the day the adoption was finalized, Victoria stood in the courthouse holding Lily's hand. The judge smiled at them and said, "Congratulations, Ms. Chen, you're officially a mother." That night, Victoria and Lily stood on the balcony of their apartment, no longer cold and sterile, but filled with Lily's artwork, her books, her laughter. They both wore their matching lockets now, connecting them to Emma's memory. "Do you think my mom would be happy?" Lily asked. Victoria pulled her daughter close. I think she'd be thrilled. And I think she brought us together because she knew we both needed each other. Victoria had learned that success wasn't measured in corner offices or bank accounts. It was measured in moments like this, in bedtime stories and messy breakfasts, in school plays and skinned knees, in loving someone enough to let them change you completely. She had spent her whole life building an empire, but it turned out the only thing worth building was a family. If this story of second chances and found family moved you, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to Trillionaire in Love. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever experienced an unexpected connection that changed your life? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more heartwarming stories about love, redemption, and the courage to start again. Remember, it's never too late to let love in.